There's no escape. This time, there isn't even a quit game button. How do you deal with a psycho girlfriend who can turn invisible, teleport, and drain your bank account? Asking for a friend. Urgently. She hacked the county clerk's office to file a marriage certificate, and I didn't even get to say I do. The thing I'm most afraid of isn't the pain. It's the disappointment in her eyes. A year ago, I was doing everything I could to get away from her. Now I'm walking right back into the beautiful trap she set for me. One eye stare at the two words flashing on my monitor, log out successful, and collapse into my gaming chair, the back of my t-shirt completely soaked through. The air conditioner blasted the sweat on my neck, sending a cold shiver down my spine. Finally, I'm out. 3 days ago, I was trapped in the world of that godforsaken dating sim, locked in the basement of the game's psycho heroine, Evelyn Reed. Even now, just thinking about it makes the muscles in my calf twitch. The woman carved her name into my leg with a silver steak knife, whispering, "This way, you'll be mine forever." Leo, are you spacing out again? Is that test report finished or not? My boss's roar echoed from across the open plan office. I snapped back to reality, quickly ducking my head and pretending to type furiously. As a QA tester for Odyssey Gaming, my job was to find bugs in the dating sim star-crossed lovers. Somehow, while testing a new character route last week, I got sucked into the game world and ended up as the main target for the obsessive protagonist, Evelyn Reed. "Almost done, Mr. Henderson." I called back, but my eyes couldn't help darting to my phone. On the screen was the 87th text from Evelyn. "Leo, why aren't you answering me?" Unbelievable. Ever since I escaped back to the real world, this number had been blowing up my phone. I tried everything, blocking it, changing my number, even turning my phone off. But every morning, dozens of unread messages would be waiting for me. The scariest part? I ran a search on the number. It didn't exist. Two back home that night. Ding dong. The doorbell made me jump out of my skin. It was 10:30 p.m. No one ever visited my crappy, single-occupant apartment. "Just leave the food at the door." I yelled, assuming it was a delivery. No response. The doorbell rang again, this time a frantic, non-stop ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong that sent a spike of panic through my chest. I tiptoed to the door and peered through the peephole. A blood-red dress, a pale face, and the same eyes that had haunted my nightmares for the last 3 days. Evelyn. She was smiling directly into the peephole, her dark red lips moving. "Leo," she mouthed, "I found you." My brain short-circuited. This is impossible. She's a game character. How could she cross over into the real world? "I know you're in there." Her voice, sickly sweet, seeped through the door. "I'll count to 3. If you don't open up, you know what happens next." My legs went weak, and I slid down the door until I was sitting on the floor. Flashes of the consequences from the game seared through my mind. Being fed like an animal in a cage, injected with unknown drugs, the time she smiled while snipping off a lock of my hair, saying she would treasure it forever. 1. I scrambled for my phone to call 911, only to find there was no signal. 2. The refrigerator started humming violently. The lights flickered. Every appliance in my apartment was going haywire. 3. Click. The deadbolt unlocked on its own. Evelyn stepped gracefully over the threshold in a pair of thin stilettos, the hem of her red dress brushing against my knee. She knelt, her ice-cold fingers touching my face. "Did you miss me?" She tilted her head, her long, black hair falling across my chest. "I missed you so much. These 3 days without you felt like 30 years. My throat was tight. How are you here?" "For my Leo, of course," she giggled, pulling a familiar pair of silver handcuffs from her handbag, the same one she'd used to restrain me in the game. "This time, I won't let you get away." As the cold metal snapped shut around my right wrist, I realized with crushing despair. This time, there wasn't even a quit game button. 3 first, Evelyn said, tugging me to my feet by the handcuff chain. "We need to sort out your living situation. This apartment is far too small. We're moving into my place tomorrow." "What place? Where did you get a house?" I stumbled after her toward the couch. "I bought in your name, silly." She pushed me down onto the sofa, then straddled my lap, cupping my face in her hands. "I've been very busy these last 3 days. Finding your social security number, your bank accounts, your work address. Oh, and I also hacked the county clerk's database and filed our marriage certificate." "A marriage certificate? Legally speaking, we've been married for 24 hours. She pulled a folded paper from her dress, as if by magic. On it was a photo of the two of us. A photo I swear I've never taken. See? We're perfect together. I stared at the obviously photoshopped wedding photo, then noticed the background was the chapel from the game. So, not only did this woman break the fourth wall, but she can also bring items from the game into the real world. Don't look so glum, Evelyn pouted, her fingers tracing circles on my collarbone. I'll take very good care of you. Now let's eat. I made your favorite, barbecue ribs. She stood and walked to the kitchen, a kitchen I hadn't used once since moving in, and returned with a plate of steaming ribs. They were glossy, fragrant, and looked exactly like the ones she forced me to eat every day in the game. How did you do this? It's easy, she said, picking up a piece with a fork and holding it to my lips. I memorized the recipe for every single dish you ate in the game. Open up, sit. I opened my mouth on instinct. The sweet and smoky flavor exploded on my tongue. Damn it, they're good. I could never resist her cooking in the game, and it was even better in real life. Is it good? Her eyes sparkled as she watched me. Yeah. Then have another. She picked up another piece, but halfway to my mouth, she diverted it into her own. Then, she leaned in close and passed the piece of rib from her lips to mine. MMPH. My eyes went wide, hit by the taste of barbecue sauce mixed with her cherry red lipstick. A little kiss, she said, licking her lips smugly. We did much more intimate things in the game. Why are you so shy now? I choked, my face turning beet red. It was true. During the month I was a prisoner in the game, we'd done everything. But that was a game. This is the real world. All done, she asked the moment I put my fork down, immediately pressing against me. Then it's my turn. Before I could react, she pushed me flat on the couch and climbed on top of me. The handcuff chain rattled as she undid the strap of her red dress with one hand. Wait, this is reality. We can't. What's the difference? She murmured, biting my earlobe. No matter which world we're in, you have to be mine. I closed my eyes in defeat. It's over. There's really no escape this time. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of bacon. I opened my eyes to find myself in my own bed, my right hand still cuffed to the headboard, though the silver cuffs had been replaced with fuzzy pink ones. Good morning, hubby, Evelyn chirped. She was wearing one of my button-down shirts, the hem barely covering her hips, and carrying a breakfast tray. Bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, with the yellow mustard you like. Where did you get all this food? The farmer's market, she said, setting the tray on my lap. I went at 5:30 this morning. I also paid your overdue utility bills for you. Thanks. You're welcome, she cooed, sitting on the edge of the bed. Her voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. But if you ever try to run away again, I'll post our wedding photo in your company's Slack channel. I sprayed a mouthful of orange juice. You're in my company's Slack? Not just that, she said, wiggling her phone. I'm also in your college alumni group chat, your gaming Discord, and I even have the personal number of the owner of that poke bowl place you always order from. Is this woman the devil? How much digging did she do in just 3 days? Don't look at me like that, she said, leaning in to lick the drop of juice from the corner of my mouth. I just love you that much. Come on, let me feed you. For the rest of breakfast, I was forced to endure her one bite of sandwich for one kiss feeding method. By the third kiss, I'd given up fighting. I learned in the game that resistance only makes her more excited. I have to go to work today, I announced as soon as breakfast was over. I know, she said, unlocking the fuzzy cuffs and producing a new suit out of thin air. I already requested the morning off for you. I'll drive you to the office this afternoon. You requested time off for me? MHM. I sent an email to Mr. Henderson from your account. Said you had a nasty case of hemorrhoids that needed a doctor's attention. Evelyn. Just kidding. She laughed, dodging the pillow I threw at her. I told him a pipe burst in your apartment. But her expression turned serious. I'm coming with you. No way. Looking like that. I gestured at her red lipstick and black dress. You're way too conspicuous. Oh, that? Easy. She snapped her fingers, and her outfit instantly changed to a casual blouse and jeans. Her long hair was now in a chic, short bob. See? The cosmetic skins from the game work in the real world, too. My jaw dropped. What exactly are you? Your wife, she said with a sweet, innocent smile, changing back to her original look. Come on, hubby. I'll give you a ride. Where did you get a car? With your debit card, of course. That was the money I'd been saving for 3 years for a new PC. And now it's our little runabout, she said, pulling me out the door. Parked downstairs was a brand new, cherry red Mini Cooper. Isn't it cute? It suits you perfectly. I was shoved into the passenger's seat, drowning in despair. She used my money to buy a car she wanted and had the nerve to say it suited me. On the way to the office, Evelyn suddenly said, "By the way, I brought a few other little things from the game world with me." "What things?" I asked, instantly on high alert. "Like," she paused at a red light and pulled a familiar glass vial from the glove compartment. A strange green liquid swirled inside. "Remember this? The truth serum I was developing right before you escaped." The hair on my arms stood on end. In the game, I'd watched her use it on another NPC, who then spilled every single one of his secrets without hesitation. "What are you planning to do with that in the real world?" "Just a little insurance," she smiled sweetly, putting the vial back. "As long as you're a good boy, we'll never have to use it." When we got to my office building, I laid down the law. "You are absolutely not coming upstairs with me." "Why not? I want to see where you work." "Mr. Henderson would fire me on the spot if you showed up." "Fine. Then I'll just turn invisible," she pouted, and then promptly vanished before my eyes. "What the?" I reached out a hand and felt a solid form. "You can turn invisible, too?" "It's a basic character skill." Her voice came from the empty air. "Don't worry. No one can see me but you." And so, with my heart pounding in my chest, I walked into the office with my invisible psycho girlfriend. The moment I sat down, I felt a weight settle onto my lap. "Stop it," I whispered. "Stop what?" I heard her giggle next to my ear. "I just want to watch you work up close." Her warm breath on my earlobe nearly made me leap out of my chair. Mr. Henderson glanced over, his brow furrowed. "Everything all right over there, Leo?" "Yup, fine. Just a leg cramp." The entire afternoon was a battle against invisible harassment. One moment, Evelyn was playing with my hair. The next, she was licking my ear. At one point, she even guided my hand to her. "Leo, your face is bright red. You running a fever?" My coworker, Dave, asked with genuine concern. "It's just hot in here. I'm going to splash some water on my face." I bolted to the men's room and gasped for air in front of the mirror. Suddenly, Evelyn's reflection faded into view behind me. She wrapped her arms around my waist. "You're so cute when you're working," she purred, nuzzling the back of my neck. "But I think I like you best when you're flustered. What do you want from me?" I spun around and grabbed her by the shoulders. "This is the real world. You can't just do whatever you want." "Why not?" Her eyes turned sharp and dangerous. "Everything I could do in that world, I can do here. In fact," she leaned in close to my ear, "it's much easier. There's no system monitoring, no game rules. I can love you however I want." A shiver went down my spine. It was true. In the game, she was at least bound by the game's code. But out here, "Don't be scared," she said, her sweet expression returning. "As long as you behave, I'll be the perfect wife. Come on, give me a smile." I forced the corners of my mouth up. She gave me a satisfied kiss on the cheek and vanished again. 9. It was pouring rain when I got off work. As I stood at the building's entrance, wondering how I was going to get home, I saw the red Mini Cooper pull up to the curb. Evelyn got out, holding an umbrella, and walked toward me. "Hubby, I'm here to pick you up." Under the stunned gazes of my coworkers, I ducked my head and got into her car. "You were a good boy today," she said, handing me a warm drink. "This is your reward." I took it silently. It was boba tea, my favorite taro flavor, and the temperature was perfect. "How did you know I liked this?" "Your DoorDash order history," she said casually. "I also know you like to get extra boba, but you can never finish it all." My heart skipped a beat. This feeling of being known, of being cared for, was actually kind of nice. "Don't think this means I'm giving in," I said, trying to sound tough. "It's okay. We have time," she said, starting the car with a smile. "A whole lifetime." 10. When we got back to my apartment, I found it had been completely transformed. The dirty laundry was gone. The fridge was fully stocked, and even my ancient desktop had been replaced with a top-of-the-line gaming rig. "How did you?" "TaskRabbit," she said, taking off her coat. "I paid for it with your credit card." "Evelyn." "Kidding." She stuck her tongue out. "I used the gold from my game account. It converts to a 1-to-100 exchange rate in this world's currency." "That's completely unscientific." "Does love need to be scientific?" she retorted, starting to unknot my tie. The bath is drawn. Want me to wash her back? No. We eventually agreed that she could stay in the living room, invisible, but there would be no touching. Soaking in the hot water, my frazzled brain finally had a chance to process everything. 11. Evelyn was undeniably dangerous, but I couldn't deny that my quality of life had skyrocketed since she arrived. And I placed a hand over my chest. There was a strange fluttering sensation there. During that month in the game world, did I really feel nothing for her at all? What are you thinking about? Her voice whispered right next to my ear, scaring me so badly I slipped and swallowed a mouthful of bathwater. You promised you wouldn't come in. I was worried you might drown, she said, standing there holding a towel. Besides, is there any part of you I haven't seen? My face burning, I snatched the towel and shoved her out of the bathroom. When I came out of my pajamas, the dining table was set for a candlelit dinner. Happy 2-day anniversary of our marriage, she said, raising a glass of red wine. Time to celebrate. A 2-day anniversary isn't a thing. I just made it one, she said, pouring me half a glass. Drink up. It's not drugged. I took a hesitant sip. It was rich and smooth, a quality I definitely couldn't afford. You paid for this with game currency, too? MHM, she said, cutting into a steak. In the game, I was the heir to a massive corporation. My assets, converted to this world's currency, are about $9 billion. How much? But it's all our money now, of course, she said with a sunny smile. As long as you're good, you can buy whatever you want. This was the devil's temptation. I lowered my head and attacked the steak, trying to hide my inner turmoil. It was delicious, better than any Michelin star restaurant. Slow down, she said, reaching over to wipe a smear of sauce from the corner of my mouth. Then, she casually brought her finger to her own lips and licked it clean. That is good. My face was on fire again. How did this woman make every single gesture so damn seductive? 12. After dinner, she materialized a game console. Want to play something? You know how to do this? Of course. I scanned your Steam library, she said, booting it up expertly. How about It Takes Two? It's great for building relationship skills. So we spent the rest of the night curled up on the couch, playing video games. I had to admit, she was the perfect gaming partner, skilled, but never so good that she steamrolled me. She knew just when to hold back and when to offer encouragement, and I rediscovered a joy in gaming I hadn't felt in a long time. Time for bed, she said suddenly, putting down her controller. Her eyes took on that dangerous glint again. You have work tomorrow. I instinctively shrank back. You're sleeping on the couch. What kind of newlyweds sleep in separate rooms? She scooped me up in a bridal carry. God knows where she got the strength. Don't worry. Tonight, I'll just hold you. I won't do anything else. She actually kept her promise, though she clung to me like a human octopus all night. 13, I woke up in the middle of the night and found her watching me in the moonlight, her fingers gently tracing the lines of my face. Why are you awake? I asked, my voice thick with sleep. I'm afraid if I close my eyes, you'll disappear again. Her voice was uncharacteristically soft. After you vanished from that world, I looked for you everywhere. I'm glad that even though this world is strange, it has you in it. My heart clenched. According to the game's lore, Evelyn's obsessive personality came from the trauma of being abandoned by her parents. And now, she'd crossed dimensions to find me. And in this world, she had no one else. You're an idiot, I said, flicking her gently on the forehead. I'm not going to disappear this time. Now go to sleep. Her eyes lit up, and she immediately pressed closer. Does that mean I can have a kiss? No. Stingy, she pouted, but she obediently closed her eyes. Watching her sleep, she looked almost like a normal, innocent girl. I let out a quiet sigh. 14, when I woke up the next morning, my right hand was cuffed to the headboard again, and Evelyn was smiling at me, holding a syringe. What is that? I stared at the needle, at the violet liquid glowing weirdly in the morning sun. Evelyn leaned over me, her long hair falling like a curtain on either side of my face, creating an intimate, suffocating space. Just a little insurance, she whispered, her voice like melted caramel. An improved version of the loyalty serum I developed in the game. It won't hurt. I yanked at the handcuffs, the metal chain rattling loudly. You're insane. This is the real world, not the game. Shoo. Her finger pressed against my lips, cool and soft. Don't get so worked up. You know that resistance only makes me more excited. Her knee pressed down on my thigh as she straddled my hips, the tip of the needle moving slowly toward my arm. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for the sting. But the pain never came. Instead, I felt a warm, wet sensation. I opened my eyes to see Evelyn licking the skin on the inside of my arm. Just kidding, she giggled, tossing the empty syringe aside. It's just vitamin C. I used food coloring to make it look scary. She unlocked the cuffs and placed a soft kiss on the red mark the metal had left on my wrist. Why would I ever really hurt you? I let out a long breath, but my body tensed again at her next words. However, she tilted her head, giving me that sweet, terrifying smile that made my blood run cold. If I catch you looking at another woman for more than 3 seconds, next time it won't be vitamins. 15, this was day 7 of living together. I was starting to learn Evelyn's patterns, a constant cycle of sweetness and threats, of gentle affection and terrifying madness. Like now. 1 second, she was laughing like a kid who just pulled a successful prank. The next, her expression turned serious as she retrieved an elegant box from a nightstand. A present for you, she said, her eyes shining as she handed it to me. I took it warily. Inside was the latest top-of-the-line smartphone. My phone still works. I've already taken care of it. She took my old phone and, with a few quick movements, transferred the SIM card. See? All your data is migrated. I even kept the same wallpaper. She showed me the screen proudly. But her voice dropped. I installed a little plugin. A sense of dread washed over me. What kind of plugin? Real-time location tracking, call recording, message monitoring, and she counted on her fingers, her grin widening as my face grew paler. Just kidding. It's just a couple's location sharing app, so I can always find you. She leaned in and kissed the corner of my mouth. You disappearing on me like that left me with some serious trauma, you know? 16, I gripped the new phone, the metal edge digging into my palm. The gift was just like her, beautiful and sleek on the surface, but a tool of control underneath. Breakfast was one of Evelyn's special heart-shaped fried eggs with fresh squeezed orange juice. She insisted on feeding me, following every bite with a kiss. I chewed mechanically, my mind drifting back to the nightmare I'd had last night. I was locked in a giant birdcage while Evelyn, dressed in her blood-red gown, hummed a tune as she injected me with some unknown liquid. What's on your mind? Her voice snapped me back to the present. Nothing, I mumbled, sipping my juice. There's a big project review at work today. I might have to work late. Evelyn's smile faltered for a fraction of a second before returning. Okay, I'll bring you dinner. She stood to clear the plates, her back to me. By the way, I scheduled a bridal appointment for this afternoon. I nearly choked on my orange juice. A bridal appointment? MHM. She turned, leaning over the table toward me. Even though we're already married, a girl needs a little ceremony. Her fingertips traced my jawline. I want everyone to know that you belong to me. I opened my mouth and closed it. Arguing would only trigger her more extreme, controlling side. I'd learned that lesson the hard way. 17 on the drive to work, Evelyn hummed happily. When we stopped at a red light, she said, I sold your gaming account. What? I whipped my head around to face her. I've had that account for 5 years. It was a waste of your time, she said dismissively. You could use that time to be with me. The light turned green, and she accelerated smoothly. I used the money to buy you some new suits. They'll be delivered tomorrow. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. That account had years of my life invested in it. Rare items and characters I'd spent countless hours grinding for, all gone without my permission. Are you angry? She glanced at me, the corner of her mouth twitching into a dangerous smirk. Should I pull over so we can talk about it? I shook my head immediately. The last time we talked in the car, I ended up locked in the passenger seat for half an hour, forced to endure one of her love lessons. Good boy. She reached over with one hand and ruffled my hair. I'll make your favorite barbecue ribs for dinner tonight. That was the terrifying thing about Evelyn. Just when you thought you couldn't take it anymore, she'd offer a little bit of sweetness that made it impossible to truly hate her. When we pulled up to my office, I unbuckled my seatbelt with a sigh of relief. I'll pick you up after work, she said, then planted a loud, wet kiss on my cheek. Love you. 18, it wasn't until I was in the elevator that I realized my back was soaked with sweat. The mirrored wall reflected my pale face and the very obvious hickey on my neck. Evelyn's handiwork from that morning. I tried to adjust my collar to hide it, but then I heard a familiar giggle. "You can't hide it." Evelyn's voice whispered in my ear, her warm breath making me flinch. I froze, looking around the empty elevator. "Don't be nervous. It's just a remote audio projection." Her voice was filled with playful mischief. "Just a little reminder to eat the lunch I packed in your bag. If you dare order takeout." Her tone turned menacing. "You know the consequences." The elevator doors opened, and I practically ran out. The entire morning was a wreck. Evelyn wasn't physically there, but her presence was everywhere. A text message every hour on the hour. A little handwritten note suddenly appearing in my desk drawer. When I got up to get some water, the cooler suddenly sputtered boiling water, nearly scalding my hand, as if punishing me for leaving my desk. 19 at noon, I took out the lunch she'd packed. It was a fancy bento box. The top layer had rice and vegetables arranged in the shape of a heart. The bottom layer held a handwritten love letter. My coworkers all looked on with envy, oblivious to the suffocating control behind the romantic gesture. "Dude, your girlfriend is amazing," said Kevin, the new intern. "When do we get to meet her?" "She's kind of shy," I lied. "Really?" Kevin leaned in, lowering his voice. "Then who was that super hot woman who picked you up yesterday? The whole office saw you too." My heart hammered against my ribs. "That was my cousin." "Oh," Kevin dragged the word out, clearly not buying it. "Your cousin's really friendly, huh? Kissing you in the car like that." My face felt like it was on fire. Before I could come up with another lie, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Evelyn. "He's so cute when he lies, isn't he? Tell him if he lies again, I'll have to bite his tongue off." I snapped my head up, scanning the office. Everything looked normal, but the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. "What's wrong, Leo? You look like you've seen a ghost," Kevin asked. "Nothing. I went back to my lunch, but the food tasted like cardboard." I couldn't focus at all during the afternoon project meeting. When Mr. Henderson called on me, I just stammered, unable to form a coherent thought. "Leo," he slammed his hand on the table. "This is the third time you've zoned out this week. One more screw-up and you're fired." The room was dead silent. I hung my head in shame, and that's when I smelled it, a faint, familiar perfume. Evelyn's. "I'm sorry, Mr. Henderson." I apologized, my voice tight. "I promise it won't happen again." "See that it doesn't," he grunted. Meeting adjourned. My coworkers filed out. I deliberately stayed behind. When the room was empty, I whispered to the air, "You're here, aren't you?" Silence. But as I walked out, I saw that the door to Mr. Henderson's office was closed, and I could hear strange noises from inside. On a bizarre impulse, I crept closer and peeked through the blinds. Mr. Henderson was slumped in his chair, a dazed, dopey grin on his face. On the desk in front of him was a steaming mug of tea, and on the rim of the mug was a faint violet stain. The blood in my veins turned to ice. It was her truth serum, the same stuff she used on the NPCs in the game to make them spill their guts. "Did you like my little gift?" Evelyn's voice purred from right behind me. I spun around. She was standing in the hallway, casually tossing a small atomizer in her hand. "What did you do to him?" I demanded in a harsh whisper. "I just asked him a few questions," she said, tilting her head with an innocent air. "Like why he's always giving you a hard time, whether he's been shorting you on your bonuses." Her eyes narrowed. "And about that little crush he has on Kevin from accounting. You're crazy. This is the real world. You can't just drug people." "Why not?" She took a step forward, backing me against the wall. "He bullies you, so I punish him. It's only fair, isn't it?" Her fingers brushed my cheek. "No one gets to bully my Leo, except me." I grabbed her wrist. "Stop it. You're going to ruin my life." Evelyn's expression turned thunderous. She twisted her hand, gripping my wrist with surprising strength. "Your life?" she sneered. "The day we met, your life became my life." She started dragging me toward the elevator. "It seems you need to be taught a lesson." I was hauled into the elevator against my will. The moment the doors slid shut, Evelyn slammed me against the wall and kissed me hard. It was a punishing, angry kiss. She bit my lip, and I could taste blood. I tried to fight back, but my limbs felt heavy and weak, as if I'd been injected with a muscle relaxant. "Don't worry," she whispered against my ear. her voice returning to its syrupy sweetness. Just a little something to make you more cooperative. Her fingers traced my throat. We'll have a long chat when we get home. By the time the elevator reached the ground floor, my legs could barely support me. I had to lean on her just to stand. Evelyn half carried me out of the building and into the car. "Buckle up," she said gently, as if the last 5 minutes had never happened. The car moved toward home, but my consciousness was fading in and out. Through the haze, I could hear Evelyn humming a soft tune, occasionally reaching over to stroke my face. "Sleep, my love." Her voice seemed to come from far away. "When you wake up, you'll be a much better boy." I don't know how much time passed before I woke up in my own bed. My right hand was locked to the headboard with the fuzzy pink cuffs. Of course. The room was filled with the aroma of food. Evelyn was sitting on the edge of the bed, peeling an apple. "You're awake," she smiled, leaning down to kiss my forehead. "Are you hungry? I made your favorite chicken noodle soup." I tried to move my wrist, and the cuffs made a soft rattling sound. Evelyn saw the movement, her smile never wavering. "Don't rush. Eat something first." She scooped up a spoonful of soup, blew on it, and held it to my lips. I turned my head away. Naughty boys have to be punished. Her voice was still sweet, but her eyes had gone cold. "Let me go," I said, my voice hoarse. "If this keeps up, we're both going to lose our minds." Evelyn set the bowl down and sighed softly. "Why do you always have to make me angry?" She reached in the nightstand and pulled out a familiar silver box, the one from the game where she kept her educational tools. My body reacted before my brain could, recoiling instinctively. Evelyn opened the box. Lined up neatly inside were various small items, a feather, a silk cord, tiny vials, and the silver syringe that starred in all my recent nightmares. "Pick one," she said gently. "The feather is nice and soft. Good for first-timer." "I'm not picking anything." "Let me go." "Then I'll choose for you." She took out the feather and drew it lightly across my collarbone. "You love this in a game. It tickles, but you can't get away." The feather didn't hurt, but the helpless, uncontrollable tickling was worse than pain. I twisted my body, trying to escape, but that only exposed more skin to her torture. "Please, stop," I begged. "Say I love you," she commanded, pausing the feather at my waist. I love you." Not convincing enough. The feather resumed its journey. "I love you. I really do." Evelyn finally put the feather down and leaned over to hug me. "That's better." Her lips met mine. "I love you too. So much." The kiss was incredibly gentle, a world away from the bruising one in the car. I responded passively, my mind a swirl of confusion. I should hate her. So why did I feel a shameful sense of relief in this moment? 23. "You must be hungry," she said, unlocking the cuffs and helping me sit up. "The soup is getting cold." I opened my mouth like a robot and let her feed me. The soup was delicious, the temperature just right. As she fed me, Evelyn chattered on about her day, as if we were just any normal couple. I picked out 3 wedding dresses. "Will you come with me tomorrow to see them?" She wiped a drop of soup from my chin. "The white ones are so boring. I want to try a red one, like the dress I was wearing when we first met." I nodded, suddenly realizing I was slowly, but surely, giving in to her plans. She was using a combination of tenderness and terror to dismantle my defenses, one brick at a time. After the soup, Evelyn brought a warm, damp cloth and gently washed my face, her touch as delicate as if I were made of glass. "Go to sleep," she said, stroking my hair. "Tomorrow will be a better day." I closed my eyes, feeling her fingers carting through my hair. The exhaustion, combined with the lingering effects of whatever she'd given me, sent me into a deep sleep almost immediately. In the twilight between dreams and waking, I felt her slip into bed beside me, her arm wrapping around my waist, her face pressed against my back. "Don't you ever leave me," she whispered, the words both a prayer and a threat, "or I'll destroy everything, including myself." 24. I stared at the resignation letter on my screen, my finger hovering over the enter key. "Are you sure you want to quit?" Evelyn wrapped her arms around my neck from behind, resting her chin on the top of my head. "You don't have to work, you know. My game currency is enough to last us several lifetimes." "No," I shook my head. "I'm not going to be some freeloader." She giggled, twirling a strand of my hair. "Then what do you want to be? I could pack you a cute lunch every day." "I think I'll pass." I finally hit send. After Mr. Henderson was drugged, my coworkers were spied on, and the office water cooler accidentally spewed boiling water, I knew I had no choice. As long as I worked there, Evelyn would keep protecting me in her own destructive way. "Good boy," she said, giving me a kiss as a reward. "Now I can watch you 24/7. I sighed, exasperated, but then realized I was smiling. 25. 3 months later. "Evelyn, did you mess with my save file again?" I yelled, holding up my controller. "That female NPC was hitting on you," she said, hands on her hips, completely unapologetic. I locked her affection meter. Now she'll only ever call you Valiant Hero, not my love. That was a 3-hour quest line. "Don't be mad," she said, tackling me in a hug and nuzzling my cheek. "I made you mango panna cotta with extra mango." I glared at her, but the corner of my mouth was already turning up. 6 months later. "Hubby, look at this." Evelyn ran into the living room, excitedly waving a pregnancy test. "Wah." I nearly fell off the couch. "Wait, we haven't even." "Just kidding," she laughed, tackling me again. "But if you wanted to, we could always try. Maybe after you stop putting a GPS tracker in my morning coffee." 1 year later, I stood on the back porch, watching Evelyn play with a stray cat she'd adopted in the yard. The sun caught her long hair, making it glow. A year ago, I was just a QA tester, stressed out about bugs and deadlines. Now, I had a psycho wife who could turn invisible, teleport, and occasionally hack into the Federal Reserve to deposit a few extra bucks into my checking account. "Leo," she called up to me, her smile radiant. "Come play with us." I smiled back and walked down the steps to join her. Yeah, there was no escape. But the funny thing was, I don't think I wanted to escape anymore.